Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray, off the tennis.
And don't forget, if you want to listen to the news when you're out and about, you can download it as a podcast by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from. But coming up today, could we see The Rock on next week's SmackDown?
SmackDown, commercials on Fox. Less of them.
Loads of huge match announcements to tell you about.
Cris Cyborg, wrestling? You know about that.
And the latest developments with 205 Live. This is the news.
But we are going to kick things off with some big bad news relating to probably the hottest character in WWE, arguably the hottest character in all of wrestling at the moment, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, who has just been ruling the roost on Raw. He's the best thing on that show every single week. The SmackDown appearances so far, kind of almost sort of non-existent. That may well be set to change. Now, I've forgotten my little tub of sugar here, salt, sorry, so I can't do the gimmick. But we've got a story here from good old WrestleVotes, who, once again, have taken a slice of common sense and passed it off as a scoop. Anyway, they tweeted the following last night. Something nobody can deny. A person who works for Fox has told me directly, face to face, they would like Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. However, it looks like he's going to remain on Raw, with Paul Heyman being a gigantic fan of his. Not confirmed, but we'll see. So, it makes perfect sense. It makes all the sense in the world that Fox would want a piece of the Fiend because he's so bloody good. And he gets so many clicks, the YouTube video do crazy numbers. He's all over social media. You see little gifs of like Seth Rollins cowering and the Fiend menacing and putting people down with mandible claws. He's everywhere. He's a sensation. Whether or not he will eventually help WWE boost their ratings is another matter. It's hard to measure in 2019 anyway because you don't know where to watch TV anymore. But this makes all the sense in the world, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially because, like you say, he is the hottest prospect, in my opinion, in wrestling right now. There's a lot of excitement and buzz around AEW, but I'd say you mentioned The Fiend, and he is the hot topic in all of wrestling right now. And if SmackDown is going to become the A show, as we would expect, you need the best or most popular person on your product on the right brand.
Yeah, you want as many eyes on it as possible.
Having said that, I sense that Paul Heyman would fight tooth and nail to keep this guy on there. Not only because, it would make sense to have him on Raw, he's probably going to win the Universal Championship at Hell in a Cell, so that would make things a little bit weird. But also because I think Paul Heyman can probably handle him a lot better than they would on SmackDown.
Yeah, that's the big concern, I guess. One of the big concerns with SmackDown moving to Fox is that it's still being written by kind of the same team as before, while Paul Heyman is sitting on Raw. That team isn't necessarily bad. I mean, SmackDown's been very consistent over the past few years. But I think in recent months it hasn't quite hit the same heights as Raw. It's been very good. It's usually, 6 or 7 out of 10 every week. It's a good, solid, easy to watch wrestling show. But Raw peaks a little bit higher, so the worry with it going forward is that maybe even though it's being presented as the A show creatively, it might not be able to stack up as well. However, I think they do a good job with The Fiend regardless. WWE haven't made a misstep so far. Loving it.
No, let's move on now, though, to talk about next week's first ever edition of SmackDown on Fox on Friday nights, of course. Lots of buzz around that. We're getting Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston. We're getting the 4 Horsewomen, I do believe, in a tag match, which is really exciting. Lots of stuff to get onto with that in just a short while as well. But, of course, it's also the 20th anniversary special. There's going to be the likes of Hulk Hogan, Sting, Ric Flair, Booker T, Foley, Angle, Goldberg, Trish Stratus, Mark Henry, Jerry Lawler. All the names have been associated with it. But one of the biggest names is, of course, the guy who basically was Mr. SmackDown, and that is The Rock. And Adage are reporting that people are obviously speculating about whether or not The Rock will make an appearance, and they've said that many other special appearances are, quote, being kept under wraps for next Friday night, and The Rock may well appear to promote his Jungle Cruise movie, which Disney are going to release in July of next year. For me, if you want to start off your first SmackDown show with a bang, you do as much as you possibly can to get, in my opinion, the greatest wrestler ever on that show.
You would move heaven and earth to get The Rock on that show, wouldn't you? He's the biggest crossover mainstream star in wrestling history, bar none. He has surpassed Hulk Hogan in that he has become the highest paid movie star on the planet or whatever. Ridiculous level of fame, The Rock. interesting thing about this, Adage, I think, is a marketing and advertising insider source, website, news site, whatever. So you should probably take this with a great deal of credibility. But, the thing with The Rock is that Meltzer reported a few months ago that for some reason The Rock was trying to distance himself from pro wrestling a little bit, but nobody really knew why or what was going on there. So I think it would still be a pretty big surprise to see Big Dwayne show up, but it would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Rock bottom some goober, maybe win the 24/7 title. Even if none of that happens, a promo from The Rock is still a joy to behold in 2019.
I reckon what you should definitely do is, in the middle of Eric Rowan's monster push, murder him in 7 seconds again. That'd be good.
Remember me?
Yeah. Remember me?
Oh, please
Push
no.
over. Anyway, let's move on. Another story here from Adage. It's actually the same report. Talking about SmackDown, again, the move to Fox. What are they going to do with What are they going to do with commercials? What are they going to do with the rampant advertising all over these shows? Distracts the flow of matches and stuff in particular. Well,
It's good for me, because whenever I'm watching SmackDown back and they go the whole, picture-in-picture thing, I go, well, nothing important's going to happen here.
Ooh.
And if it is, it'll be recapped afterwards. Skip.
Fast forward through this headlock, baby. Adage have a report here, and here's a quote from them. Fox is looking to cut back on the commercials for SmackDown by 10 to 20% when SmackDown moves to Fox to appeal to a younger demographic. The double box feature during commercial breaks will not be a part of the move to Fox next Friday. Good stuff all around. It's quite jarring, I think, when you're a British TV viewer and you're watching American sporting events like WWE and NFL and NBA games, because there's so many commercials compared to over here where we typically have like one every half an hour.
Yeah, it's just like, right, we'll be back after this, and then someone's like, do you want to buy some tea? And then it goes back to the show that we're watching.
There's my fake laugh again. Yeah, and if you're watching, a Premier League football game, you'll only get adverts.
Do you want to buy some football-related tea? Generally what happens.
Gary Lineker crisps.
Shout out to Gary Lineker. Yeah.
My brother in stupid ears as well. It is quite jarring,
yes.
Particularly as a British viewer. I guess American viewers are more used to them because the amount of commercials on US TV is crazy compared to over here. But I would love to see them cut down regardless, if only to, preserve the matches a bit.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think they do sort of jar, even if they sort of continue it in that little box. Like I say, even if it's a match you were really into, you're kind of like, Popeye's chicken! And you're like, oh, I'm trying to concentrate on this. So I think this is the best thing for them. I think it's going to work a lot more for them in the long term, because if you dip in and you're like, oh, you can really invest in it, then that'll make things a lot bit easier. Exactly. Right, should we do something we've never done on the news before?
What's that, pal?
Speed round, okay?
Oh, bang!
We've got loads of huge matches to tell you about. We don't really need to go into that much detail because you kind of know a lot about them, but just confirmations of them, and let us know your thoughts on the matches in the comment section below. Let's start off with next Friday night, as we mentioned, the big first SmackDown on Fox, and it's been confirmed that match that we saw teased on last night's SmackDown, Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon, is going to take place, a ladder match, next Friday night. As noted, Shane's lawyers will have documents in a briefcase hung above the ring. If Shane wins, Owens stays fired and is gone. If Owens wins, Shane is done. Weird this, because I thought it was guaranteed as they were setting it up that it was going to be a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell next Sunday.
You would have thought so.
And then they've just gone, sod it actually. Arguably, and this might be a fair assessment actually, next week's SmackDown is bigger than Hell in a Cell for WWE.
I think it is. It absolutely is. It's the biggest night for a long time. Anyway, speed round 2. We have another match announced for this time, Hell in a Cell. It's going to be Luke Harper and Eric Rowan against the Goat Yard Dogs.
Oh, nice.
We need a good name for those, and that'll do. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Almost said Kevin Owens there. That would have been weird. Set up on last night's SmackDown. In-ring promo from Eric Rowan. Good stuff. Match with Daniel Bryan. Good stuff. Daniel Bryan loses because Luke Harper interferes. Good stuff.
Great stuff.
Roman Reigns comes down. They have a brawl. Good stuff. And then
Daniel Bryan doesn't automatically make friends with him either.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff all around. They make the match. It's going to be great.
Yes. Right, final match to tell you about now, and it's gone in chronological order, this, because next week's NXT, so not the one happening tonight, but the first one going head-to-head with AEW as part of the Wednesday Night War. Of course, make sure you listen to the Wednesday Night War podcast, out every Thursday. And it's been announced by William Regal on Twitter that we are getting another title match. there is a title match confirmed. Yeah, the Women's Championship match.
That's right.
For that next week's NXT. And also confirmed a Tag Team Championship match pitting the Undisputed Era's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, who are of course the champions, against the Street Profits. Really excited for this match.
It'll be great. Both teams are awesome. Street Profits are bags of fun. Yeah. They always have good matches as well.
Fabulous things.
Let's move on. Let's pivot over to MMA, sort of, and talk about Adam Wilborn's lifelong rival, Cris Cyborg. She is once again talking about potentially transitioning into professional wrestling.
AKA running scared from me.
Hey,
please don't hurt me.
Scared of Wilborn. She's given a new interview with MMAfighting.com, or she has spoken to them to be specific. Here's a quote from her. I love both AEW and WWE, and the fans of pro wrestling are always stopping me in the street asking me when I'm going to have a wrestling match. If the opportunity presents itself and the deal makes sense, I would love to challenge myself with pro wrestling. And I'd love to see her try pro wrestling because she's teased it several times over the years. Twitter feuds with Becky Lynch, all kinds of stuff back in the day. Cris Cyborg, if you've seen what she can do in the octagon, she's a goddamn scary person.
She murdered Shayna Baszler back in the day.
Put her in the dirt. So there's all kinds of stuff they could build on. Her and Ronda Rousey have been taking shots at each other for like a decade almost, maybe not a decade, but a long time. You could transition that over to wrestling. If she's half as natural in the ring as Ronda or Shayna has been, it'll be great.
I think that is the money fight. I think that arguably could be, a big WrestleMania match, because if you don't know a lot about it, there's a huge amount of MMA history between the two of them. They've never faced off against each other. The fans are clamoring for it, and yes, while it wouldn't be quite the same as a wrestling match, like you said, there's been back and forth. I think she even offered Cris Cyborg this year to team up with Alexa Bliss to beat up Ronda Rousey.
That's a weird team, isn't it?
At one point. But I'd love to see it. I think it makes sense right now. Obviously, Cris Cyborg is just signed for Bellator. She's going to go off and do that. Ronda Rousey, I don't know if she's still on that impregnation vacation or what's going on with that. She's making weird videos with Devon Dudley, which I enjoy. But hopefully we get to see that in the future. And most importantly, out of all of this, great to hear Cris Cyborg keeping my name out of her mouth.
Put some respect on his name.
But please don't hurt me, Chris. Right, final news story of today centres around 205 Live. A lot of speculation about what's going to be happening to it going forward, of course. There's obviously mentions from Triple H recently that 205 Live is going to sort of go under the NXT umbrella. It's also going to be handled by the NXT creative team. Well, Mike Johnson of PW Insider is now reporting that the word making the rounds backstage at the SmackDown taping in San Francisco is that 205 Live will be shifted to Fridays at 10 p.m. on the WWE Network, which would obviously follow SmackDown on Fox, which kind of makes sense if you're going to try and persuade people to transition over. They're still going to be taped after SmackDown goes off the air.
I'd love to be positive about this, but it's not going to solve any of 205 Live's problems, a lot of which come from being taped at the same time or just after SmackDown. It just kind of sucks that, this exhausted wrestling crowd who's there for SmackDown, half of them don't stick around for 205. It's a real shame, but it makes sense for the company, I guess. It would have been cool to see them kind of cram into Full Sail University with that hotter crowd.
Yes. All right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch. Mark Smith has got involved saying, what if WWE do a double turn? I like this is completely out there. With Roman Reigns joining Rowan and Harper, and that tag match ending with a triple powerbomb on Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that's actually really quite good, and the sheer volume of beef in a trio, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Roman Reigns is absolutely tremendous. Yeah, I kind of like that. In fact, I really like that because Bryan's babyface signs on recent episodes of SmackDown have been awesome. He's just one of the best of all time, and I love Roman Reigns, one of my favourite wrestlers ever. I'd love to see that.
And that's the heel turn that people have been looking out for Roman Reigns. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Vince Russo likes this idea as well because he just loves a swerve. But I do think that they're just going to make a really good babyface tag team. They've made some wonderful stuff here with I mean, even if they've had to go through some bollocks to get to it. Toby Mason gives us our second question of the day. Cheers, Toby. Who says, with all of the fan support online for EC3, do you think Jinder Mahaling him would actually work this time around if WWE were to give in to the support? I.e. Jinder Mahal, he's explained, is going from jobber to huge push out of nowhere.
You can kind of see it happen because like post-return Jinder, EC3 is absolutely ripped and looks like a goddamn chiseled out of marble guy. Yeah, I could see it happening. I think it would go SmackDown a little bit better than Jinder's push because EC3's a better talker, he plays a better character, and he's he's not the best wrestler in the world, but he's good enough to get by. He's certainly better than broken action figure Maharaja. I don't know if it's the answer, Fo. I don't really like those hot-shotted pushes. I don't think they work too often. So I would learn the lesson of the Jinder.
I hope they do some sort of, redemption arc for him, but I can see them just hot-shotting something like that. And whilst I'd be into it, I sense that very rarely results in either a championship win, or when it does, it kind of falls a little bit flat.
Exactly.
Right, let's move on to the final question of today from Richard McLarnon, who says, after the ending of Raw this week, can you see the Universal title match being changed to a triple threat with Strowman taking the loss to protect Rollins?
Yeah, I can actually, and I actually think that would make a lot of sense because like the feud between Bray and Seth, it's been presented quite well so far, but it doesn't have like months and months of build that feel like they desperately need to be paid off in a one-on-one environment. So you can do that. You can do it in Hell in a Cell. I mean, it would harm Braun. Braun would just become even more of a Samoa Joe-esque figure.
But if we're moving him to SmackDown like we suggested...
Yeah, I mean, fresh start and all that. He would, however, move on to something like 0 and 7 in world title matches, which is like Hiroki Goto levels of fail.
What I could see, if they don't do that, is The Fiend interfering on Raw, and then Rey Mysterio being added into that Hell in a Cell match. Because he could take the loss.
But he's really old, mate. So.
He's really old. I'm not sure if they mentioned that during the commentary of that Fatal 5-Way.
Magic.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and I love it when wrestlers tweet out that they are pissed off sometimes. And I love it when they're all cryptic and you have to say, oh, what does this mean? What does this wording mean? What does this picture mean? Buddy Murphy has done no such thing. He has been blatantly obvious in what he's doing here. Of course, hasn't been seen very much on SmackDown recently, along with the likes of Aleister Black and lots of other people. And he sent out a very simple tweet last night following SmackDown. See if you can decipher what this means. It's a GIF of a kangaroo dropping a ball. In case you were unaware, I'll just translate for you. Buddy Murphy's Australian. Australians bloody love kangaroos, okay? That kangaroo's dropping the ball, symbolising WWE dropping the ball with Buddy Murphy. You flaming galah! Right, let us know your thoughts on that. I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I?
Yeah, we're cancelled.
Sorry to Australian viewers. You flaming galahs. Let us throw another shrimp on the barbie. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling for daily wrestling podcasts too. Plus, you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for, I don't know. Yeah!
Where's
me bro nail, man? There we go, that's me cancelled as well.
You can follow me if you're Australian and tweet at me at Adam Wilborn on Twitter. As I said, you can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And let us know your thoughts on what the future of The Fiend is in the comment section below too. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching. I'm off for a bloody Foster's. We'll see you soon.
Neighbours. Everybody needs good neighbours. Pick their bum and taste the flavours.